Sergeant First Class Maya Rodriguez pulled into the motor pool at Fort Campbell, Kentucky, her personal motorcycle, a Harley-Davidson Softail, rumbling beneath her. It was 5:30 on a humid August morning, and she needed to get her bike inspected before the long ride to her sister's wedding in California. She had leave papers approved, everything squared away except this final inspection. Maya was 34, 5'6", with an athletic build that came from years of CrossFit and combat deployments. Her brown hair was pulled back in a regulation bun, and she wore a simple black tank top with Army PT shorts, standard workout gear for the Kentucky summer heat. The motor pool was already busy with mechanics preparing for the day. As she parked and removed her helmet, she heard the whistles and comments begin. "Damn, look what just rode in," someone called out. A group of 5 mechanics, all male, all junior enlisted, had stopped working to stare. Their leader, Specialist Jake Turner, was known throughout the base as a loudmouth who thought his mechanical skills made him indispensable. "Hey there, beautiful," Turner called out, walking over with an exaggerated swagger. "That's a lot of bike for such a little lady." Maya ignored him, walking toward the inspection office with her paperwork. "Hey, I'm talking to you," Turner persisted, jogging to catch up. "What's the matter? Too good to talk to us grease monkeys?" "I'm here for an inspection," Maya said curtly. "Is Sergeant Morris in?" "Morris ain't here yet," Turner replied, stepping in front of her. "But I can help you out. Maybe we could discuss it over coffee. You look like you could use a real man to handle that bike for you." His buddies laughed, gathering around like pack animals sensing entertainment. Private First Class Williams, barely 19 and trying to fit in, added, "Yeah, these Harleys are pretty heavy. You sure you can handle it? Maybe you should stick to something smaller like a scooter." Maya's jaw tightened, but she maintained her composure. "I've been riding since I was 16. I think I can manage." "Oh, she thinks she can manage," Turner mocked, turning to his audience. "Bet you're one of those weekend warriors, right? Ride to Starbucks and back, pretending to be tough." Staff Sergeant Carlos Mendez, slightly older and supposedly more mature, joined the group. "Turner's got a point. These bikes require real strength, upper body especially. No offense, sweetheart, but you don't look like you could pick it up if it fell over." "Is that right?" Maya said quietly, her tone carrying something that should have warned them. "Yeah, that's right," Turner said, emboldened by the support. "Tell you what, why don't you let me take it for a spin? Make sure it's safe for you. I've been riding since before you were playing with Barbie dolls." "I doubt that," Maya replied. "Oh, she's got attitude," Turner exclaimed, playing to his audience. "I like that, but attitude don't mean you can ride. Bet you're one of those base bunnies who bought a bike to impress some infantry grunt." The group laughed harder. More mechanics had gathered, about a dozen now, all enjoying the show. Maya set her paperwork down on a nearby toolbox and turned to face them fully. "You want to make a bet?" Turner's eyes lit up. "Now we're talking. What kind of bet?" "You think you're a better rider than me? Fine. Once Sergeant Morris gets here and inspects my bike, we run the course out back. The obstacle course you guys use for testing military vehicles. Whoever completes it faster wins." The mechanics looked at each other in disbelief, then burst out laughing. "The obstacle course," Mendez said. "On motorcycles, that's for Humvees and trucks, not bikes." "Scared?" Maya asked simply. Turner's face reddened. "I ain't scared of nothing, especially not some chick who probably learned to ride from YouTube videos. You're on. But when I win, and I will win, you give me your number and agree to that date." "And when I win," Maya said, "you and your crew do a full detail on my bike, cleaning, oil change, the works, for free." "Deal," Turner said immediately, offering his hand. Maya shook it, nodding his grip strength attempt. She matched it easily, causing him to wince slightly. That's when the motor pool commander walked in, Captain David Brooks, a man who'd earned his commission through ROTC and had never seen combat. He was known for being by the book but generally fair. "What's all this commotion?" Brooks demanded. "Just a friendly bet, sir," Turner said, still cocky. "This lady thinks she can outride me on the obstacle course." Brooks looked at Maya, taking in her appearance, the tank top, the athletic build, the confident stance. "Ma'am, that course is dangerous. It's not designed for motorcycles." "I'm aware, sir," Maya replied. "And you are?" "Sergeant First Class Rodriguez, sir, 75th Ranger Regiment." The laughter stopped abruptly. Rangers were elite infantry, the tip of the spear, but Turner recovered quickly. "Rangers don't ride motorcycles in combat," he scoffed. "Probably some admin clerk claiming to be a ranger." Maya didn't respond, just smiled slightly. Captain Brooks looked uncertain. "Sergeant Rodriguez, I can't officially sanction this bet." "It's happening during off-duty hours, sir," Maya said. "After the inspection, personal time." Brooks shrugged. "Then I can't stop you, but I'm not responsible for injuries." An hour later, Sergeant Morris had completed the inspection, and word had spread throughout the base about the bet. Nearly 100 soldiers had gathered at the obstacle course, including several officers who'd heard a female ranger was about to school some mechanics. Turner had spent the time boasting, revving his own bike, a Kawasaki sport bike he'd modified extensively. "Speed and agility," he kept saying. "That Harley's too heavy for quick maneuvers." Maya did a few stretches, causing more whistles and comments from the crowd. She ignored them all, focused on the course. A quarter-mile of obstacles including steep hills, water hazards, tight turns, and narrow passages between concrete barriers. "Ready to back out?" Turner asked, pulling on his helmet. "No shame in admitting you're in over your head." Maya pulled on her own helmet. "Let's ride." They lined up at the start. Someone had even found a checkered flag. The crowd was taking bets, most putting money on Turner. 3, 2, 1, go. Turner shot forward, his sport bike accelerating quickly. Maya followed, her Harley's engine roaring. The first obstacle was a series of tight S-curves. Turner's bike was indeed more agile, and he navigated them quickly. Maya took them wider, smoother, maintaining speed through the turns rather than accelerating and braking. The second obstacle was a hill climb, steep and covered in loose gravel. Turner's lighter bike struggled for traction, the rear wheel spinning. He had to slow down, picking his way carefully. Maya shifted her weight back, used her legs for balance, and powered up the hill, the Harley's weight and torque advantage showing. She passed Turner halfway up, shooting over the crest while he was still fighting for grip. The crowd started murmuring. This wasn't going as expected. The water hazard was next, a shallow ford about 30 feet across. Turner tried to speed through it, sending up a massive spray. But his sport bike's low clearance caused him to bog down momentarily in the middle. Maya hit the water at a steady pace, standing on her pegs, weight distributed perfectly. She crossed it like it was a puddle, barely slowing down. "Holy shit, she actually knows what she's doing," someone in the crowd said. The final challenge was the narrowest, concrete barriers forming a passage barely wider than the handlebars. One touch and you'd go down. Turner, frustrated and falling behind, tried to make up time by going fast. He clipped the second barrier with his left handlebar, causing a wobble that nearly sent him down. He had to stop, regain control, then proceed slowly. Maya entered the passage at what looked like an impossible speed. But her line was perfect, her body position exact. She threaded the needle without slowing, exiting cleanly while Turner was still struggling. She crossed the finish line, a full 15 seconds ahead. The crowd erupted, not in cheers, but in shocked silence followed by scattered applause. Turner pulled up beside her, ripping off his helmet, his face red with embarrassment and anger. "You got lucky," he snarled. "That course favored your heavy bike." "Luck had nothing to do with it," Maya said calmly, removing her own helmet. That's when she turned to put her helmet on her bike, and her tank top shifted, riding up slightly in the back. Captain Brooks, who was standing nearby, gasped audibly, "Jesus Christ, is that?" Visible on Maya's lower back was part of an intricate tattoo. But it wasn't just any tattoo. It was a specific design that made several veterans in the crowd step back. The tattoo showed a skull wearing a green beret, with a dagger through it and a scroll beneath reading CURAETMORTIS, care and death. Around it were 5 stars, and below that, barely visible, were numbers. COP KEATING 10309. That's, Brooks's voice failed him. He actually took a step backward. An older soldier, Master Sergeant Thompson from the infantry battalion, pushed through the crowd. "Everyone shut up, now." His voice carried absolute authority. He approached Maya slowly, almost reverently. "Ma'am, were you at Keating?" Maya turned around fully, crossing her arms. "Yeah, I was at Keating." The name rippled through the crowd. Cop Keating. October 3, 2009. One of the bloodiest battles of the Afghanistan War. 8 Americans killed, 27 wounded, against an estimated 300 Taliban fighters. The battle that had become legend in military circles. Master Sergeant Thompson's face had gone pale. "You're not just any ranger, you're the one they call Ghost." The medic who? "Who what?" Turner interrupted, still trying to salvage his pride. "What's the big deal about some tattoo? Anyone can get a tattoo." Thompson turned on him with fury in his eyes. "Shut your mouth, specialist. You have no idea who you're talking to." He looked back at Maya. "Sergeant Rodriguez, you're the one who ran through open fire 17 times to drag wounded soldiers to cover. You're the one who performed emergency surgery in a burning building, while Taliban fighters were literally breaking through the walls." Maya said nothing, but her silence was confirmation. Captain Brooks pulled out his phone, typing rapidly. His face went from pale to white to slightly green. "Oh my God! Sergeant First Class Maya Rodriguez. Silver Star, Bronze Star with Valor, 3 Purple Hearts. You were the only female at Cop Keating. You saved 23 lives that day." 24, Maya corrected quietly. "Private Marsh survived. Took him 3 years to walk again, but he survived." Turner was backing away now, his bravado completely evaporated. I didn't know." "Of course you didn't," Maya said, her voice carrying an edge. "Because you judged me based on my appearance. You saw a woman on a motorcycle and made assumptions." She walked closer to Turner, who actually flinched. "You want to know why I can ride this bike? Because I learned to ride in Afghanistan, running medical supplies between outposts on dirt bikes while being shot at. You want to know about upper body strength? Try carrying a 200-pound soldier with full gear up a mountain while bullets are snapping past your head." She pulled up her tank top slightly, revealing more tattoos but also scars. Bullet wounds, shrapnel marks, burns. "This one," she pointed to a particularly nasty scar on her side, "is from an RPG that hit 10 feet away. Killed 2 of my friends. I kept working on wounded for 3 hours with shrapnel in my liver." The crowd was dead silent. Several soldiers had removed their caps, some were crying. Turner fell to his knees, literally dropped to his knees. I'm so sorry, I couldn't." "Get up," Maya said disgustedly. "Don't kneel, that's not what this is about." Captain Brooks stepped forward. "Sergeant Rodriguez, I need to apologize as well. I should have stopped this immediately. Your record, what you've done. We should be learning from you, not mocking you." "You think I care about apologies," Maya said, addressing the entire crowd now. "You think I went through Keating for recognition. I did it for the soldiers next to me, just like every real warrior does." She turned back to Turner. "You owe me a bike detail, full service. And not just mine, you're going to service every female soldier's vehicle on this base for free for the next month. Maybe spending some time actually helping women instead of harassing them will teach you something." "Yes, Sergeant," Turner said immediately. "Absolutely." Master Sergeant Thompson pulled out his phone. Sergeant Rodriguez, my son was at Keating. Michael Thompson, Bravo Troop. Maya's expression softened for the first time. Mikey, yeah, I remember him, good soldier, how's he doing? Alive, thanks to you, Thompson's voice broke. You pulled him out of that burning LMTV. He lost his left leg, but he's got 3 kids now, named his daughter Maya. The emotion in the air was palpable. Soldiers who'd been laughing and jeering an hour ago were now looking at Maya with awe and shame. There's something else, Captain Brooks said, reading from his phone. You're not just a Ranger medic. You were Delta Force support. That's what the Death Skull represents. You were attached to Delta for classified operations. Maya's expression hardened. That's classified, Captain. Not anymore, a new voice said from the back of the crowd. Everyone turned. Walking toward them was Colonel James Mitchell, the base commander, accompanied by Command Sergeant Major Williams. As of last week, Mitchell continued, several operations from 2009-2015 have been declassified. Sergeant Rodriguez's full record is now available. He looked at the crowd. This woman has been on 43 classified operations. She's been officially credited with saving the lives of 67 American soldiers and allies. He walked up to Maya and, to everyone's shock, saluted her. A colonel saluting a sergeant first class. You don't salute NCOs, sir, Maya said quietly. I salute heroes, Mitchell replied. And you, Sergeant Rodriguez, are one of the finest soldiers I've never had the privilege of serving with. Colonel Mitchell addressed the crowd, his voice carrying the authority of 30 years of service. Everyone here needs to understand something. Sergeant Rodriguez isn't unique because she's a woman who can ride a motorcycle or win a bet. She's unique because she represents the best of what the Army can produce, regardless of gender. He pulled out a tablet and showed a photo on the screen someone had set up. It was from Cop Keating, showing Maya in full combat gear, covered in blood and dirt, working on a wounded soldier while the building behind her was literally on fire. This photo was classified until last week, Mitchell explained. It was taken by a combat photographer who was himself wounded. He said Sergeant Rodriguez worked on him while rounds were impacting inches from her head, and she never even flinched. Turner, still on his knees despite being told to get up, finally stood. Sergeant Rodriguez, what I said earlier, calling you sweetheart and beautiful and suggesting you couldn't handle. You want to make it right, Maya interrupted. Then change. Don't just apologize to me. Think about every female soldier you've dismissed, every woman you've underestimated. Go apologize to them, and then do better. She turned to the crowd. How many of you have made assumptions about female soldiers? How many of you think women can't handle combat, can't handle pressure, can't handle the same things men can? About half the crowd looked guilty, avoiding eye contact. Let me tell you about the women I've served with, Maya continued. Sergeant Lisa Chen, 5'2", maybe 100 pounds soaking wet. She carried me, plus both our gear, 200 meters to safety when I was wounded. Specialist Maria Santos looked like she should be on a magazine cover, not a battlefield. She held off 30 Taliban fighters with a saw for 40 minutes while we evacuated wounded. She pulled out her phone and showed more photos. Female soldiers in combat, covered in dirt and blood, carrying weapons, carrying wounded, fighting with the same intensity as their male counterparts. Every one of these women has been mocked, harassed, underestimated, and every one of them has proven themselves 10 times over. Captain Brooks stepped forward. Sergeant Rodriguez, what can we do? How do we fix this culture? Maya thought for a moment. You start by stopping the little things. The comments, the jokes, the assumptions. Turner here didn't wake up one day and decide to harass women. It built up over time, enabled by silence and laughter from others. She looked at Turner's crew. How many of you laughed along even though you knew it was wrong? 3 of them raised their hands shamefully. That's how it perpetuates, Maya said. Good soldiers staying silent while bad behavior becomes normalized. Colonel Mitchell announced, effective immediately, Sergeant Rodriguez will be conducting a base-wide series of seminars on respect, combat experience, and integration. Attendance is mandatory for all personnel. Sir, Maya protested, I'm supposed to leave for my sister's wedding. Your leave is extended by a week on the other end, Mitchell said. The Army needs what you have to teach. Over the next 3 hours, what had started as a morning motorcycle inspection turned into an impromptu training session. Maya, still in her tank top and shorts, taught the assembled soldiers about combat, about respect, about what real strength looked like. She demonstrated combat medical techniques, showing how she'd saved lives under fire. She explained the physics of riding motorcycles in combat zones, how she'd evacuated wounded on bikes when helicopters couldn't land. She told stories that weren't classified anymore, stories of heroism and sacrifice that transcended gender. Turner became her assistant, holding equipment, helping demonstrate techniques. With each passing minute, his shame transformed into something else, determination to be better, to do better. You know what the hardest part of Keating was? Maya asked the crowd. It wasn't the bullets or the explosions. It was afterward, coming home and having people assume I was just another female soldier who'd never seen real combat. Having mechanics tell me I couldn't handle a motorcycle. Having male soldiers assume I needed protection. She looked directly at Turner. I don't need protection. None of us do. We need respect. We need to be judged on our actions, not our appearance. 3 weeks later, after Maya returned from her sister's wedding, Fort Campbell had changed. Turner had become one of the most vocal advocates for female soldiers on base. He'd publicly apologized to 17 different women he'd harassed over the years and had started a mechanics training program specifically to recruit and train female soldiers. Maya walked into the motor pool to check on the progress. Turner immediately stood at attention. Relax, specialist, Maya said. How's the program going? 11 female soldiers signed up in the first week, Turner reported proudly. Including Private First Class Johnson, she's got natural talent, already better than Williams at diagnostics. Maya nodded approvingly. And the other thing. Turner pulled out a notebook. I've documented every instance of harassment I witnessed or participated in over the last 3 years. Names, dates, locations. It's all here. I'm ready to testify if needed. That takes courage, Maya acknowledged. Not as much courage as Keating, Turner replied, or as much as it took for you to keep your cool when we were mocking you. Captain Brooks appeared, and Maya noticed something different. He was wearing a Ranger tab. Sir, Maya questioned, pointing at the tab. Brooks smiled sheepishly. I went to Ranger school, last class, graduated yesterday. You inspired me. I realized I was leading soldiers without ever really understanding what combat leadership meant. Ranger school at your age, Maya was genuinely impressed. That's no joke. Neither is being mocked and maintaining professionalism, Brooks replied. You taught me that real strength isn't about showing off. It's about restraint, control, and knowing when to act. That afternoon, Maya conducted her final seminar. The base theater was packed beyond capacity. She'd become something of a legend on Fort Campbell, not just for her combat record, but for how she'd handled the situation at the motor pool. I want to show you all something, Maya said, turning around and lifting her shirt to fully reveal the tattoo on her back. The skull with the green beret was just part of it. Around it were names, dozens of names in small script, weaving around the imagery like a memorial. These are the ones I couldn't save, Maya said, her voice steady but emotional. Every medic carries these names. Every combat soldier has their list. These are why we fight, why we train, why we demand better of ourselves and each other. She turned back to face the audience. When you mock a fellow soldier, when you dismiss someone based on their appearance, you're not just disrespecting them. You're disrespecting everyone who's died for this uniform, because they didn't die for a boys' club. They died for the United States Army, all of it, every soldier regardless of gender, race, or background. In the front row, Turner stood up. "Sergeant Rodriguez, I have something to say." Maya nodded for him to continue. "3 weeks ago, I was the worst kind of soldier," Turner admitted to the packed theater. "I judged people on appearance, made assumptions, created a hostile environment for female soldiers. I thought being a mechanic who could fix vehicles made me valuable. But Sergeant Rodriguez showed me that real value comes from lifting others up, not tearing them down." He pulled out something from his pocket, his specialist rank. "I'm voluntarily taking a reduction to private first class. I don't deserve to be an NCO until I prove I can lead all soldiers, not just the ones who look like me." The theater was silent. Then Colonel Mitchell stood and started clapping. Soon, the entire theater was on their feet, applauding not just Turner's gesture, but the transformation they'd all witnessed. Maya held up her hand for silence. "Turner, keep your rank. You've learned the lesson. Use your position to teach others. That's an order." After the seminar, Maya was packing up when Master Sergeant Thompson approached with a young man in a wheelchair. His son, Michael. "Sergeant Rodriguez," Michael Thompson said, his voice thick with emotion. "I never got to thank you. At Keating, when the LMTV exploded, I thought I was done. Then you appeared through the smoke like some kind of angel. You pulled me out, stopped the bleeding, kept me alive for 6 hours until medevac arrived." "You kept yourself alive," Maya said. "I just helped." "No," Michael said firmly. "You saved me, and not just physically. You know what you said to me while you were working on me? You said, 'You're going to make it and you're going to have a beautiful life. This isn't your end, it's your beginning.' You were right. 3 kids, loving wife, great job, all because you gave me that beginning." Maya hugged him, and there wasn't a dry eye in the room. As she prepared to leave Fort Campbell for her next assignment, instructor at the Army's Combat Medic School, the entire motor pool staff lined up to see her off. Turner approached with a gift, a custom leather jacket with the Cop Keating Memorial embroidered on the back. "We all chipped in," Turner said. "Every mechanic on base. We wanted you to have something to remember us by, to remember that we learned." Maya put on the jacket, nodding the perfect fit. "How did you know my size?" Turner grinned. "Specialist Johnson figured it out. She's got an eye for detail, going to make her an NCO soon." As Maya rode out of Fort Campbell on her Harley, now detailed to perfection by Turner's crew, she thought about the journey from mockery to respect. It hadn't been about the bet or showing off her riding skills. It had been about something deeper, showing that strength comes in many forms, that assumptions are dangerous, and that every soldier deserves respect until they prove otherwise. The tattoo on her back, hidden once again under the leather jacket, carried the weight of those she'd lost and saved. But now it carried something else, the knowledge that she'd changed minds, opened eyes, and made the Army a little better for the female soldiers who would come after her. The commander had backed away when he saw her tattoo, not out of fear, but out of respect for what it represented. And that respect had rippled through an entire base, transforming mockery into admiration, harassment into mentorship, and ignorance into understanding. As the Kentucky hills rolled by, Maya smiled. Her sister's wedding had been beautiful, but what had happened at Fort Campbell felt more important. She'd won more than a bet. She'd won a battle in the ongoing war for equality and respect in the military. And somewhere behind her, Specialist Turner was teaching Private Johnson how to properly maintain a motorcycle, treating her with the respect every soldier deserved, regardless of gender. The transformation was complete. The mockery had become respect, and the tattoo that had changed everything remained hidden under leather, a secret testament to the fact that heroes come in all forms, even female rangers on Harleys who refuse to be underestimated.